And today's topic is love, black love and black relationships. And we saw this video this week that really just caused a lot of us to pause. And it had to do with love, sex, and Happy Meals. And so I'm going to play the video in a second. But before we get started, I want to welcome everybody. Remember that this platform is Black First. We are B1, hashtag B1. Put a hashtag B1 in the chat if you're Black First and you agree with us that the Black community should come first. The Black community matters more than other communities. Hashtag B1 in the chat if you agree with that philosophy. So today's guest, I saw Mrs. G from Black Wealth U. She was in here a second ago. I don't see your video, Rose. So when I see your video again, I'll bring you back in. And also we have ladies first. We have Dr. Alicia. Dr. Alicia is a relationship therapist and a full professor of social work. And we also have Jeff Lightsey Jr. from the Black Boss channel. What's going on, Jeff? There's Mrs. G. She's in there. She's always got some great things to say. And Mr. John F. Thomas, who's an award-winning director and writer out of LA. What's going on, John? All right. So hello, Philip and Christian and Willie and Sharon and Haroldson and Christopher and Jeff and everybody else in the family. Let's get it started here. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can play this video. You're going to be entertained. I can guarantee it. And it's really fascinating to observe. I don't know if you want to call it ratchet or honest or what, but it certainly was a conversation starter in the discussion group that we have. And so let me play the video, and then we're going to basically break down and let everybody know what we're seeing on this. So let me know. Do you see the video up on your screen? Panelists, give me a yes or no. Do you see it? Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm going to hit play now. Let me turn the volume up here. And I might play it twice. It's a short clip, and I want you to hear it twice so you can really let it sink in, because she's doing some real deep analysis here. So here we go.
Something to eat before he took me out. So I was like, can you buy me by the McDonald's real quick because I'm running behind. Woo woo. We get to McDonald's. All she got was her classic, a milkshake, 4-piece nugget, and a small fry. When the lady at the window asked for the bread, she's like,
where's that?
Yeah.
Nigga, you said run me through McDonald's real quick so we can, nigga, you won't pay for it.
I'm sorry. Okay. I think that's already that was the first problem.
Ain't no problem.
At that moment,
That's your problem.
look, and it was at that moment. Now I had the
You
bread,
paid for the.
and I even asked him, did he want anything? But look, it was at that moment that I knew you were never getting this pussy.
Because he ain't paid for your daughter food.
To get my daughter something to eat before he took me out. So I was like, can you buy me by the McDonald's real quick because I'm running behind. Woo woo. We get to McDonald's. All she got was her classic, a milkshake, 4-piece nugget, and a small fry. When the lady at the window asked for the bread, she's
like, where's that?
Yeah.
Nigga, you said run me through McDonald's real quick so we can, nigga, you won't pay for it.
I'm sorry. Okay. I think that's already that was the first problem.
Ain't no problem.
At that moment,
That's your problem.
look, and it was at that moment. Now I had the
You
bread,
paid for the.
and I even asked him, did he want anything? But look, it was at that moment that I knew you were never getting this pussy.
Because he ain't paid for your daughter food.
Okay. All right. So I let the video play twice so we could just let it really sink in. And I'd like to get some perspective on this. So first of all, I want to ask the audience before I ask the panelists. Give me one word to describe what you just saw in that video. Just describe that video in one word. If you had one word to use to describe what you just saw. Okay. Paris says yay. Tina says wow. Amanda says hood. Gary says LMFAO exclamation point. Okay. Ethelbert says unrealistic expectations. Okay. All right. So all right. So let's go to crazy. I see typical, profound, sad, messy, ignorant. Petty. Okay, this is getting good. All right, so let's start. All right, ladies first. Dr. Alicia, give me your assessment as a licensed therapist on what you saw in this video.
Well, first, when I saw the video, I paid attention to my initial feeling, and I just remember feeling like overwhelmed. Then I said, okay, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Well, I'm assuming that this is a first date.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
On the first date, You don't need to think about what's in a man's pants. You need to think about what's going on up here, their mind. On the first date, you don't need to think about whether he's going to feed your daughter. You don't want to put a man in an awkward position like that on the first date. Ladies, we need to slow down. You're already thinking about sleeping with this man. You're already thinking about making him responsible for your family. You want to be on the first date, appear as if you got your stuff together and not look like, who said sloppy? Somebody said sloppy. I agree with that. You don't want to seem needy on the first date.
Okay. All right. So don't want to seem needy on the first date. Okay. So we're still going to go ladies first here because we're old fashioned in this space. Miss Rowe, Mrs. G from blackwealthyou.com. What say you, ma'am?
I totally agree. I think that women in our culture do not know how to date for marriage. I think that people are actually trying to date for sex. Like, people think that sex is the step before becoming a girlfriend. That's the step to becoming a wife, which is just totally off. Literally, I agree. People need to focus on how to date. And we offer this excellent, really super popular course for several years now called Dating for Marriage. And when ladies take that, they get really focused and clear. They actually get close to marriage and they actually get married. Basically, what ladies need to be doing is presenting themselves, like Dr. Alicia said, within a light of having their stuff together. You're in an audition. And so also, another point I want to make is, ladies, I'm going to give you a very valuable tip here. When you're ordering something, it means you're going to pay. So it's really smart to ask the man to pay, to order for you, and to be asking. This lady looks like she was doing a lot of telling. When you're telling, that means you're going to pay. When you're ordering, that means you're going to pay. So it's best to ask, and then to ask the man to order for you. You can even tell him what you want to order, but that makes it clear to him who's paying, and it makes it his choice.
Interesting. Okay. So Jeff, Lacey Jr., you're hearing this perspective from ladies, and I'm a big believer in listening to black women, smart black women.
Definitely.
So what did you hear from their response, and also what did you see in that video?
So, and their response is really interesting because I agree with a lot of it. Well, with the video though, so I watched like an extended clip. We watched like a 30-second clip. I had watched the clip that was about 60 to 90 seconds, and where she goes and says that it was the first date and things like that. And what I find is funny that, yeah, it's just a Happy Meal, right? It's like, dude, chuck up $4, pay for the Happy Meal, like whatever. But what I go into and what I think about is, maybe that man, all he he didn't want to date you, is what it seemed like to me. Like, if you're not willing to dish out $4, whether right or wrong or principles or whatever, if you're not willing to dish out $4, then what are your intentions with this woman? It's not really to be her boyfriend. It's not really. It might be to just get what she seems like all she wanted to put out, right? Because in this age of dating, this age of dating, rather, I don't know, my words got mixed up, but in this age of dating, especially with most people about, you have you kind of, in the first few minutes of meeting them, either you're first meeting them or of them before y'all ever meet, you kind of know what you want out of this, right? Like, whether it's just from the image that they present or whatever. So in my mind, what I was thinking, like when he wouldn't pay for McDonald's or for the little $4 or whatever, it's because he already knew what he wanted from this lady, and it wasn't a girlfriend. It might be sounding like a lot, but it's just like, yeah, like if you're not willing to dish out $4 for this McDonald's, you probably didn't want a girlfriend from this lady. You only wanted what it sounds like she was willing to put out anyway. So that was my instant reaction when I watched the video. Okay,
all right. So John F. Thomas, before I ask you this question, I want to ask the audience a question, and then I'm gonna ask you the same question. If you so everybody who's watching, this is for the men and for the women. So for the women, imagine if you're the man, or if you want to, and this is the first interaction, right? So you're dating this woman, and she says, "Can we go to McDonald's and get my daughter a Happy Meal?" Do you buy the Happy Meal? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you would actually do that, or if you would find that to be insulting, or what would your reaction be? So John, you go on the first date with a woman, and she's a nice lady. I don't believe in discriminating against women that have kids. I just don't. I think children are a blessing, but that's my preference. But so you meet her, and you're okay with, she's great. So you don't worry about the kids, but she says, my daughter hasn't gotten any food. Can we stop at McDonald's real quick and get a meal for my daughter? And then she expects you to pull out your money and pay for the Happy Meal. What's your reaction?
My reaction is, one, I'm dating you. I'm not dating your daughter. And I'm sorry, I'm being typically Jeff and I agree, but on this one I have to disagree, man, because I'm not dating your daughter. One, I don't even really know you. Like I'm just getting to know you. So why would you expect me? And even though it might just be $4, it might be $4 or $5, that's fine. But she is your responsibility. She's not my responsibility. I don't even know if I really like you yet. So if that's the case, and also you're already expecting me to pay, and I'm probably gonna be paying for the dinner that we're going to, or the date wherever we're going out, and I'm also paying for your daughter. It's like I can see if we were married or if this was my child, then yeah, there's no question. Of course I'm paying for it, because if this is my stepdaughter or this is my child. But I don't even know if I really like you. I mean, I initially like you, but that can change once we go out on this first date. I might be getting to know you like, man, this isn't really where it's at. And so I done invested money into her child for what? But without saying that, if I just felt obliged to, if I'm just feeling good today and you're like, you know what, I got it. I'll take care of it. And that's on me. That's just extra. But don't expect me to pay, because that's a big turnoff, man. Because you already, like, you are the mother. She's your responsibility. Also, what about the father? Does he not have money? Why didn't you get this taken care of prior to us going on a date? I understand that maybe you got backed up and stuff like that, but I'm already giving you a ride. We're stopping by the store, doing all this extra, and I'm not going to be a chump in this situation. So no, I'm not paying for your daughter. That's your responsibility.
And what I would say is, I don't know if I pay for the thing neither, but I think it goes into I think it goes into who you're talking to. I don't want to make it clear. I'm probably like dude in the striped shirt. Like, where's that? Like, where the money at? Like, maybe you just ordered this McDonald's meal. Like, no, I ain't going out like no chump neither, John. I'm just putting it out there too. But at the same time, I do think if you really feel like you can do something with this lady, like if y'all been communicating prior to going on this first date, then maybe you are more willing to go out. But I think just with the image or the way this lady talks and the image that she probably presented to this man, then he's like, nah, I ain't got $4 for you today. Like I'm good. Like I'm really
I want to agree with that, because it looks like so many women are forgetting what being a woman is, and then expecting people to respond to them as if they can just see that. This lady on this clip, and I use that word lightly, is expecting that this male, whom I don't know if it's a male or a man, automatically feels that she is a beautiful person who has all of these great intentions, a lovely mother who is just totally prepared, and usually prepared. Maybe she's usually prepared, but she's presenting herself in a rough way. And it's not smart. Her voice is rough. Her approach is rough. And I want to add very, directly that calling a potential husband, because, we really need to be clear that dating is supposed to be for marriage, not for sex. If you want sex, you can just go straight to that. But calling a potential husband he in the beginning part of any story, anything, needs to be eradicated. It is a new thing that we've been doing for about 2 years. I don't watch TV for 16 years. So whenever people start doing new things that just came from nowhere, I know it came from TV. So calling male potential husbands or husbands he is a new common thing. I can ask women questions publicly about their husbands, and they will start the sentence after not saying anything for weeks with, he doesn't like this. He doesn't go for that. He bought me a ring and I didn't like it. they start to describe their husband or their potential husband with he. And it literally means I disrespect him and I disrespect you, the man. It needs to stop. I teach this over and over and over again. If you want to give your husband power or your potential husband, say my husband over and over and over again till people get sick of you. But they will know how to respect that man. That's how we're supposed to carry ourselves. And that's how you actually get married.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me let everybody know what we're talking about here. We're talking about this clip that we saw that was really interesting. I put it on my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. If you want to go check it out, we have good conversations there. I don't just want to throw stuff up there. I'd rather have intelligent conversations because I believe in Black people being smart, and I hope you agree. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let me just share this clip one more time. Some people came in late, so they were asking to see the clip again. So I'm going to play this clip again, and then I'm going to go back to the panelists and allow everyone. I think some of you may have a response to what Ro just said as well. So I will allow that too. So let's go back and let me play this clip, and it has to do with I don't know the Happy Meal vagina trade-off, which is right there. That's an issue within itself. But we'll talk about that later. So here we go.
Give my daughter something to eat before he took me out. So I was like, can you run me by the McDonald's real quick because I'm running behind. Woo. We get to McDonald's. All she got was her classic, a milkshake, 4-piece nugget, and a small fry. When the lady at the window asked for the bread, it's like, what is that? Yeah.
Nigga, you said run me through McDonald's real quick so you can, nigga, you gonna pay for it.
Okay. I think that's
that was the first problem. No problem. That's your problem.
Look, and it was at that moment. Now I had the bread,
Pay for the.
and I even asked him if he wanted anything. But look, it was at that moment that I knew you were never getting this pussy
Because he ain't pay for your daughter food.
Okay. All right. So there you go. So now we're all caught up, class. and remember, our goal is to elevate the conversation. But I'll tell you what, and I'd like to get the panelists' reaction on this. You know, I hear this, and I hear a lot of red flags in the discussion. 2 red flags. One is that you're saying that when you say at that moment, I knew he was never going to get the blank. When you're correlating, you know, your vagina with a Happy Meal, that's a problem for me, right? I maybe I'm simping, right? But I see the Black woman's womb. That's the key to the universe. Like that's more valuable than gold and platinum times 1,000. And you know that's where that's where kings and queens come from. And it's worth a little bit more than a Happy Meal. But I don't think that's what she was trying to say. But that's what bothered me. It's like I don't even want to hear about not with my daughter. I wouldn't want to hear my daughter connecting her womb to a Happy Meal. Like, sorry, we can't have that conversation. But then 2, the other red flag from me is that I do think that my bias is that if you pick a woman and she has children, you must accept the children if you accept the woman and accept the responsibility. So to me, I think, especially when you're talking about $4 or $5, buy the Happy Meal, man. Like whatever your intentions are with this woman, and this is where I go with Jeff. Jeff said, "Look, he doesn't want to date you, and he clearly doesn't want to get anything out of this whole interaction." And I'm not judging that, but why can't you buy the Happy Meal? And who are these dudes that are freaking out because a woman said, "Get a Happy Meal for my daughter so we can get it on"? I'm not even judging. I'm not, Ro has the rules about dating and all that. I'll be honest with you. When every woman I dated, I wasn't trying to marry.
No.
The woman I'm going to marry is right here in this video. But now, when I met her, it was a different conversation. But that conversation happens once in my life. It doesn't happen every time. So yeah. Okay, you need a Happy Meal. Let's get the Happy Meal so we can finish the date. Right? I don't know. So anybody can jump in and respond.
Yeah. Okay. I want to jump in. I want to defend John. Okay, I want to be in defense of John. I think that what John is saying is that right away, men do not want to be pressured into being an instant family with someone and taking on these family responsibilities. And you don't even know this woman. Like, who is this woman to even introduce a new potential partner to your child on the first date. Like, you have to really separate the two and get to know the man first before you start pushing a hungry child on this potential man that you're going to be dating. So, John, I'm in defense of you today.
Okay,
if I'm wrong.
No. You're right. So,
because these sort of things, I just want to say, these sort of things can scare men off. To put that sort of pressure on them quickly. They're like, whoa, she's looking for way too much and we're not ready to go there. The best thing to do is to have patience.
The cost of Happy Meals is going up every day.
They're about $5 now. They used to be $3. Now they're about $5.
I'll let you go, John, but I think like the key is that if the man is for you, he's going to be for you. Whether he buys a Happy Meal or not. If he's not for you, he's just not going to be for you. You can't force it. You can't rush it. You can't run into these instant family situations. Take it very slow. Okay, Alicia, John, go ahead.
Alicia, baby, I would have bought you 2 Happy Meals and I would have supersized your French fries, baby. Anything you wanted. You could have had all the Happy Meals you wanted. But just for the record, she did not ask me for a Happy Meal. Go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so the reason that actually somebody put something in the comments where they were saying it's an interview. You're not choosing this woman just yet when you're dating. Like, it's an interview. I'm trying to see if I want to continue this interaction with you. Now, after the first date, and I'm like, man, you know what? This girl is really cool. And if I can see already that first interaction, you are expecting me to pay for your child. You're showing me that you're not a responsible mother. Like, you aren't even willing to take care of your own child. And not that I'm expecting, like, let's say if me and this person gets together, okay, we end up having kids and getting all that stuff, and it doesn't work out. If you start talking to some other dude, I don't want you going and expecting this other dude to pay for our child. It's like, I have money, you have money. Like, be a grown adult, pay for your own child. Don't be, because that shows weakness to me. And it's just like, no, I'm not, and you're expecting me to just give away all of my money, and I don't even know you. You have to, like, it's for me, it's like I'm guarding myself. You have to, there's certain doors you have to work to get to open. Same thing like certain doors that I expect to have to, get to open, to get, I can't get access to everything about you on the first date. Now, for some people that want to do that, that's cool. But for me, no, I'm not doing that. Also, I'll say another quick story before I finish. When I was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I learned this one or two times the hard way. One time the hard way. There was 3 different women that I was about to talk to, interviewing process. One of them wanted me to, they were talking about food. I'm hungry. I don't have a way to go get this food. And I actually, you know what? I'm around, I'm close by. I can pick you up some food. That's fine. Drop the food off. She was not interested in talking to me. She just wanted some free food. She was playing me for it. Yeah. And I did that. You know what? I learned my lesson. I'm not doing it again. The 2 other women that I talked to after the few interactions through text, they're like, all right, well, my phone bill about to get cut off. So, man, all I need is like $50, but ain't nobody trying to help. Trying to play me for a chump. I could give her the $50. Yeah, that's nothing. But no, I'm not going to do that. And guess what? Because I didn't, she got mad. Or she was like, whatever, man, my phone gonna cut off. I guess you ain't trying to help me. No, you are grown yourself.
What are you hearing when you hear these conversations, Ro?
I want to say that very many, you look at statistics and you need to understand that the reason that women need husbands is because husbands are in need. So then you have a lot of single mothers who need financial assistance. Almost all Black single mothers need some help. They need husbands. It's not a fake thing. And they literally do need husbands to help them financially. But it's not going to work if you start trying to sell yourself short in the beginning for $4. It's not a good move. I suggest to women, and I give the best wisdom that I can associated with this. Represent yourself as a family. You need to show that you have a family to support you with your children. Somebody that's going to help you watch them, somebody that can take them sometimes over the summer, over the weekend, whatever the case may be. But also, do not ever let a man see you paying. It will become a habit that he gets used to. So
never let him see you paying.
I know that in this day and age, people aren't used to this type of advice, but it is one of the best things that I can tell ladies. Don't pull out money or a card in front of a male at all. Don't even do it in front of your son, because you're changing the way your son views women too. It is not good. I suggest that women, even if women have been doing this already, remove the visual image. Men are visual. Remove the visual image that you pay. My husband has never seen me pay for one thing on planet Earth. I do not want my husband to have a visual that I pay. This is information that I've gotten from my father. I suggest women are supposed to be creative. There are many things that you can do creatively to avoid being seen as paying, even if you are paying. But that visual, ladies, needs to go away. Do not let a man see you paying. Bring a coupon. Bring money, bring a gift card that you can say is from your parents. You bring a gift card that you can say is from the child's father. Anything you have to do to avoid directly paying in front of a man, because you're literally teaching him that there are compartments where you're paying and he's paying. And what you really want to do is secure yourself, your family financially for generational success. So even though a woman and a wife may later on put finances in places that grow the family, that's extra for the family. If the man thinks and understands that he has to and needs to do everything that the family needs, that means that the money that comes from the woman is even more of a financial benefit to the family. And that's how my grandmothers did it. That's how my mother did it. That's how we all do it. And that's all wealthy women.
But wait, let me jump in. Let me jump in, Ro. Let me jump in. Because I think that there's some other perspectives on it, and I remember that. So I don't want you to lecture now. Like I want to give you the channel one day so you can really give a whole lecture on this, because I think that you have a perspective, right? And everybody has a point of view, but I think it's more so. I also want to hear some other points of view in terms of other ways that maybe, like I can say that I never really thought that a woman paying was necessarily criminal, but what I can get is the idea that men have lost our way and women have lost their way, right? I think that's true, because I think that's why the relationships are failing and children are not being provided for. And like you said, she's right about the fact that right about a lot of things, but one thing she's definitely right about for sure is, single mothers struggle financially, right? The lowest net worth in America of any group is the single Black mother, and that's connected to family. So what she's saying is accurate. Now, I see you all had some other perspectives you wanted to add to that. Dr. Alicia, did you have a thought on some of that?
Yeah, thanks for coming to me next. I do have to leave in a few minutes. So when I'm done talking, I'm going to have to say goodbye to everybody. Okay. Thanks for having me on, Boyce. I appreciate it. And it's a great panel, by the way. Yeah, I think we need to talk in terms of modern relationships and more modern couples. And it's a negotiated thing between the two. I think that we need to place our value not necessarily on money or materialistic things. We need to place our value on the space between me and you. How are we interacting with each other? Is it respectful? Does it make sense? Are we speaking to each other kindly? That sort of substance and intimacy is really what's important in modern relationships. So, more current issues are how we communicate with each other. How do we solve problems? How do we work together as a team? Even if it means, okay, you don't have your credit card with you today. You left it home. I'll take my credit card out and I'll pay for it, because, honey, we are a team together. Right, boys? Yes,
dear. Yes, dear.
We are. We are very much a team, and we work together, and no matter how that gets done, that's how it's going to be done. And so what's important is just connecting with each other and making sure it's a nice, warm, intimate connection. And that's what I focus on every day. So who pays, who does what, it doesn't even really matter. Once you're already in that sort of relationship where you are getting married and all of that, you're working together. All of your problems exist outside of you, not between you. And I think that's the biggest thing for today. And I gotta go because I got clients to see today.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Alicia. I appreciate you
Okay.
giving us your time. And I think I don't think I'll tell you I don't see this as a one size fits all kind of thing, right? I think it's a it's a perspective thing, right? It's what works, what makes you happy, what makes your partner happy, what makes your family work, and keeping the family together. And that's something I think that's a piece of the puzzle a lot of people are missing. And I'm not going to sit and pretend like I know all the answers. I mean, my parents were married for 46 years. That played a big part in how I view marriage, because I've seen the dirty, difficult parts of it, and it's not idealistically drawn in my head, right? It's something where I saw how tough it is. And I don't think people really understand that. But I think also when you're talking about this dating thing, and so Jeff, I'd like to go to you on this. It seems to me that that date wasn't even that deep in terms of talking about marriage and family. It was really about sort of the appropriate way to engage with somebody if you go on a first date. What's cool and what's not. How quick do you bring the kids into the situation?
Yeah.
And I think that was the other thing too. Besides talking about her vagina in the same context as a Happy Meal, there's also the interesting question of, so does that mean that this guy's going to meet your child in the first week or two? That's a lot. That's going to scare a man, and it could harm your child. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. That's why, like from the jump, I think John hit on it. Like that whole date was garbage from the jump, right? Like your kid's not fed. I have to pay for the McDonald's. We have to go drop off the food to your kid. We're about to meet your kid. This is our first date. This is our first time going out. Now, maybe we've met. Once again, we don't know all the backstory, but maybe we've met or talked in passing or done whatever. But this is a whole lot for a person on the first date. I do want to kind of maybe I'm just naive, but I found out I'm not, because Dr. Alicia is older than me and she's a woman. So, but I was just like, the never seeing a woman pay thing. I found that very interesting, because I have a woman. I'm dating someone, but maybe it's because I'm young. Or so at first I was thinking like, maybe I'm young. I'm just like slow. I'm not a man yet, because Miss Rowe told me I'm not a man until I'm 35. So maybe it was just that, like maybe because I'm not a man yet. But I was like, never seeing them pay. I never thought subconsciously that made someone look weak, or I was gonna get used to that. Like I have like morals and values, and when me and my woman go out, I do pay for majority of the things. But there are times where she like treats me, or she picks up the tab, or sometimes she'll give me something or something. So I've physically seen her pay for things and do things like that. So to never see a woman pay kind of thing, I thought that to be a very, very interesting perspective, because subconsciously I've never thought of getting used to this. I guess I never thought that was something that
I think that's a good point. So Ro, please go ahead and respond to that. But I think it's like you had the right word. It's a perspective, right? Mm-hmm. It's a model. Like I think there's a lot of ways to skin that relationship cat, and at least let you know what your different options are in terms of what's really going to work for you. Ro, please go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I'm here to remind us every time that we Americans live in a bubble of recycling ignorance. We don't have views of how things are done successfully outside of America. If you go to Africa, if you go to Japan, if you go to India, if you go to everywhere in Asia, you will not see women paying when men are present. You will not see that. I have never seen my mother pay for anything with my father present. My father will be thoroughly embarrassed if my mother stood up and took care of a check or anything while he was sitting there, unless the card had his name on it. My father does not want my mother to imply that she bought a pair of shoes with money that he could not afford. Even that, I promise you, this is something that is unique to us. And because we're so isolated, we're isolated people. I'm talking about matriarchy again. versus patriarchy. We are isolated people who don't have outside views. The reason women do it this way is because they want to keep a habit and reminder of protection and providing so that men can get better and better, not to try to do anything with competition or not to, anything that's inconvenient. We're talking about keeping a strict rule that our grandparents and our parents have done to make sure that the man is always practicing to be ready, and not just with providing, with protection too. There are specific things we do for that too. Literally, we do too much stuff that causes our men to forget their power. That's what I mean.
Well, one thing that's really interesting about that role is I will say that, if you flip the gender around in gender roles, things like that, I found it really fascinating that Alicia gets real offended if another woman cooks for me or if I cook for myself sometimes. She doesn't like that. She's like, that's my job. Like, I cook for you. That bitch better not be cooking for you. I'm kidding, but that's kind of, like, it's like that kind of energy. Like, okay, I promise I won't eat anybody else's food. But and so I think that to that point, though, I think it does speak to just accepting that maybe there are some gender roles. I think I'm a believer that every relationship should have its own negotiation, but if you think about the male in our natural form as a provider and protector, that does have to be nurtured out. I think that a lot of men don't have that natural role because it was always suppressed, or their mother kind of handled everything. So they're looking to date their mother now. A new woman's going to be their mother, and then she's complaining because her man won't be a man. Well, you didn't create that space for him to be a man. You didn't pick a man.
We call this man husband training. If you want to undo the damage of a single mother, you need to carry yourself and know the exact tools to carrying yourself so that you are having your husband respond to you as if you have a husband, not a son. And so this is called husband training. Every little thing needs to be looked at so that we don't just train ourselves. We go to wife school so we can train ourselves so that we know how to be the best possible wives. And in that comparison, the husband has to fit in that space to be what he's supposed to be, because we can't do it. We're not doing it.
Well, let me ask the audience a question. Give me a yes or no. Then I'd like to go to John and get his take on this. Yes or no? Are you offended by the concept of husband training? Yes or no? Do you think that that's an offensive idea? For someone to say men should be trained to be husbands, or men should even be trained to be the male in a relationship or the man in the relationship. Do you think that the idea of husband training is yes or no? Are you okay with it? Actually, yes if you think it's offensive, no if you think it's not offensive. So yes or no? Yes, offensive, no, not offensive. Okay, I see a lot of no's. Okay, good. I was curious because I want to now ask you this. What if I said every woman should have wife training? Every woman that wants to be a wife needs to be trained on how to be a wife. Do you think that people will see it differently? I think people would. I think that people would see husband training as, yeah, that's right. These men need to learn how to act. They need to learn how to behave. But then when you turn to say, well, women need wife training too. What you mean? What you trying to tell me? No. Yeah, if I'm going to be trained, then you need to be trained, right? Unless we both just going to be some untrained people trying to build this institution called marriage and family and doing it the wrong way. John, your thoughts on that?
No, I don't have an issue with husband and wife training because I feel like we all have room to be better. But what I did want to touch on was, I think I saw somebody mention, one or two different people mentioned that what the lady did in the video, or woman, whatever, did in the video, she did it was a test. And so I'll say it like this. I don't like being tested. I'm trying to get to know you, and if anything, the test is an interview. Like, again, we're dating, it's an interview. I'm trying to see if I want to be with you. Also, since a lot of women want to in America, especially, want to be like, well, if it was this way, and blah 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 blah. If it was this way, okay. So let me bring it to some of those who are saying this. So if it was a different way, if I had the child. And I'm like, hey, swing by, Wendy's real quick, get my daughter some food, and then order the food, and I'm sitting there look. Okay, you gonna pay? Oh, she ain't pay. She ain't pay. Oh no, she ain't getting my draws. You know,
well, that almost
weak man. Oh, this man, why is he expecting me to pay? Exactly.
But that doesn't sound like a realistic conversation. Like I don't think most men would even.
It's not.
I can't even imagine myself even in any of that situation. Like, well, I don't. You don't think it's a little different though for a woman to kind of have. I hear what you're saying. When you flip the gender, it sounds almost hilarious, right? but maybe that's what it is. Like if I imagine myself putting on high heels, that's a hilarious image in my head, right? But a woman wearing high heels is very natural. Well, so what do you think about that?
I'm just saying in the sense that the same thing we were talking about with the kids. Because I'll give this example. I went on a date one time when I was back in Memphis again. I have all these crazy, hilarious stories.
Hey man, the South, man, it ain't like LA, man. It's a lot different. It's a lot different.
But I went out on a date with this girl, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and her kid was there, and her kid was like 4, climbing on the table and all over. And we were talking about, like, you know, when you're talking to a person and you're already meeting their kid, there's a lot of pressure. And I was just like, whoa, like, because two things, like, you couldn't have nobody watch this kid, and it's 11 o'clock. Why ain't they in bed? And why are they climbing all over the table? Are you expecting me to pick the kid now? I thought I was just meeting you. Now,
what's this dating at 11? I'll just say this. I think, you know, again, it depends on what people want, right? People want what they want. But if I'm a woman, I'm looking for serious men. First of all, I wouldn't be going on no dates at 11 o'clock at night. That's the first thing. You send a signal when you do that. You just do. Also, your child, I shouldn't. First of all, you got to think about who you sleep with, right? So you have a decent father for that child. I mean, I don't understand that part, but whatever. But then your child does not meet that person until many months into the relationship, like months and months and months. Like, you know, so many kids get harmed, they get molested, terrible things happen. They get confused as hell because their parent is cycling in all these men. In the mind of a child, they're going to look at every man and say, "Are you my daddy? Is that my daddy? Why the hell? Why would you do that?" That's child abuse. That's straight child abuse. Go ahead, John.
Well, this is my last. That's the thing, because just to touch on that, this was the main thing why I was really upset was because, like, I don't know this child. This child doesn't know me, and you're already so comfortable with me meeting this child. You don't know me. I could be a child molester for all you know. You know what I'm saying? And that's not cool. And I was sitting there thinking, like, you know, what if you're just willing to let this child meet any and every Joe, and just like you said, it's just like this child just keeps seeing men coming in and out and around. You know, the mother, that's not healthy for their child. And you know, like, yeah, are you my daddy, or was this you talking to somebody new this week?
And you as a man should be careful about even laying down with a woman like that. Because most people that have kids, a lot of people that have kids in America, you know, out of wedlock or whatever, they don't lay down with the person knowing that this person is going to have their child. It happens. And then you spend the next 18 years complaining because the mother of your child is a terrible person. But, you know, if they give you a signal, if people are telling you who they are early, then you think about, you know, because you can go lay down in a lot of places. You don't have to lay down in her house. Right. Sure. And so I think that this idea that men should just sleep with any woman who offers it, I encourage guys to reconsider that, because if she's doing that with her child and not a good mother, or doesn't show signs of being a responsible mother who also respects the role of the father, then as far as I'm concerned, you got to respect your seed and don't even lay down with a woman like that. Jeff, and then
no, this is actually a kind of, I just want to throw a point out there, and I kind of want to get Ms. Rose's response. So I was hearing what you were saying about, like, because it's funny, a lot of times I will say in America in relationships, black women will, or even black men will pick and choose when we want gender roles, right? Like we want them in certain aspects, but we don't want to be boxed in them in other aspects. So it's like that can get confusing at times. I will say that is a thing. Ms. Rowe, I kind of want to get your response on this. I do feel like a lot of times why black women feel the way they feel, or feel like they feel more empowered, or in the, I think you call it matriarchy kind of situation, is because a lot of times they are single mothers raising children in that aspect. Another time is, I've heard this before, is that for a long time, Black women have been, and a lot of people use the Malcolm X quote, the clip of him saying the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. And I feel like a lot of them take on that mindset, right? Like they feel like they've been disrespected for so long. And so now when they become successful, or now what they can do for themselves without a man or without anybody else's help, they want to assert themselves in that situation. And I can't speak of how it is overseas in different countries because I've never lived anywhere else besides America. But I will say, with that mindset, if you feel like you have been the most disrespectful person in America, and now you're being put or ascending to positions of power, you can feel like you are that powerful, right? Like you can feel like you can run your household by yourself, or you can feel like you can do certain things without a man. So I will say, I just kind of want to see your perspective on that, because I do see that a lot in a lot of Black women throughout this country that I'm in.
Yeah, I'm really sad to say, it's really sad to believe that even if you can pay your bills and everything, that you don't need a husband, because a husband is an actual need. Women who try to convince themselves that they don't need a husband are actually married to the government in several different ways, and they use the government to try to convince themselves that they don't need a husband. They get a lawn guy, they get a guy to deliver their heavy bottles of water. They try to get the Uber guy to give them some adoration and open their door. They try to do all of these odd things to piece together a life that feels something like somebody loves them, or somebody protects them and somebody provides for them. But in reality, like we were saying before, single Black mothers do not have any wealth. There's no savings. They know that they can buy things every month, but in reality, no matter how much money they make, even if they make thousands of dollars a month, because they don't have a husband, they're subsidizing the husband in costs, and they spend all of their money to make themselves feel better. Most of the women have $5 American dollars at the end of the month, no matter how much money they make. So they're really not doing well at all. It's all upfront. It's all depressing. And the other thing I want to say is, it is true that you should not be introducing your child to just anybody. It's so totally true. But there are ways to filter out. You have to go back to instinct and tradition. There are ways to filter out losers and creeps and abusers from being around you. The first thing you need to do, and I'm going to do this for all the children, I'm going to give free advice. The first thing that we need to do to keep our children protected is to say to the males who seek to date us that we want to be married. Then a bunch of the losers and the abusers will scram. The next thing you need to do is to say that you will not have sex until marriage. Then a whole bunch more of the losers and abusers will scram. Okay, now what you have left are people who are serious and who want to be there for the right reason. But you need to make sure that you represent yourself as a family. And if you run around acting like you're an individual who can handle things all by your own, watch how things don't go well for you. It's important to do those main three things. Represent yourself as a family. Make sure that you say that on your dating profile, whatever, the very first moment you're talking to a male, you need to let them know that you're dating for marriage. And the last thing is to say, oh, I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no sex. I'm a super sensual person. I love sex. It's going to happen so great with me and my husband, but I can't cheat on my husband by giving sex to somebody who's not him. So what we're going to do is this plan. And guess what? The abusers do not stick around when they're not getting sex.
All right. Well, everybody who's watching, I am with Jeff Lacey Jr., John F. Thomas, and Mrs. G from Black Wealth U. And we're talking about a clip that we showed earlier of a woman who said that she wasn't going to give a man her, you know what, because he wouldn't buy a Happy Meal for her daughter. And that we've moved past that. You guys know we elevate the conversation here. We're not trying to keep the conversation in the gutter where we're exchanging vaginas for Happy Meals. And so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Sign up, for our Black media platforms, because we have great conversations all week long. And one thing I want to jump in and I want to talk about really quick is you know what, I'm gonna push back a little bit on the comment about waiting till marriage to have sex. I think that sure, I do agree with you that if you restrict the market, if you say I'm not doing this till marriage, you will get rid of all the creeps. But I believe you're going to get rid of a lot of good guys too. You know,
But that's okay.
Right. So let me make this point. Then I definitely would like to hear your response on that. I will say you would have gotten rid of me because I wasn't gonna wait till marriage. I'm not gonna marry you just to find out what we got going on in the bedroom. But that didn't mean I wasn't serious though. I could be very serious, but because to your point, there were times when I was serious and times where I wasn't, and it might depend on the person. I don't believe that there's a such thing as a good man or a bad man per se. I think that certain situations will bring out the good man. Certain situations will bring out the not so good man, or the man who's interested in short-sighted kinds of things, if you know what I mean. And so, but what I've always felt is that, again, to your point, that there is a way to present yourself that trains people on how to treat you. And I use that analogy of going into Walmart versus Bloomingdale's. They're going to let you know from the minute you walk in the store what the price is that you have to pay, figuratively speaking, in order to have anything in that store. And what happens is men are very much in tune to that. And men know the difference between the cheap WAP, the Cardi B element, right, versus the Mrs. G, right? They meet the Mrs. G, right? And sometimes they're not ready for the Mrs. G. They're like, I'm saving up for Bloomingdale's, but now I'm going to go shop at Walmart for a while, right? Or maybe they say I'm going to shop at Walmart until I meet the Bloomingdale's, right? So I think that just knowing these subtleties and kind of knowing how to position yourself to get what you want, that's what I am a believer. I'm a believer in happiness in the sense that it's a matter of just knowing what things are and what it is, instead of thinking that it's going to become what you want it to be, right? Thinking that you can engage in the wrong strategy repeatedly and get the right outcome. That's where. So I think that's where we definitely meet. Is that, look, if you're looking to be married, then you present yourself as a person who wants to be married. But if you're trying to compete with the women who are not looking to get married, if you're trying to compete with Cardi B, but you're looking to become a wife, that's not really going to work, And I think a lot of people don't get that, and they get upset because reality doesn't fit their fantasy of what reality is supposed to be. You see what I mean? Like, they really think that I can go and I can spend Walmart money and get something as valuable as what I get in Bloomingdale's, or I can present myself, or I can be in Bloomingdale's and compete with Walmart. Walmart does not try to compete with Bloomingdale's. They will never say we're going to drop our prices. So scratch that. The other way around. Bloomingdale's never says, well, Walmart is selling pants for $2 or $10. We're going to try to match that price. They don't do that. They say we're in a completely different category. You have to have a completely different set of expectations. Can you kind of speak to that, just in terms of what I said?
Who, me?
Yeah, Mrs. G. Yes, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't think everybody's ready to hear what I want to say about that.
Say it. Say it.
Go ahead.
No, Missy. I'm keeping that to myself.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you really are gonna kill? Okay, then I'll let you keep it to yourself. Okay, well, how about this? Before we go, I know Jeff has to head out of here, and everybody else does. I know we got to get back to our day. So, how about a closing thought from everybody on the panel? We'll start with you, Jeff. What's your closing remarks for everybody, so we can walk away as better people?
Yeah. So, like I said, just to circle back to the original video, everybody isn't dating, and to a lot to what everybody has said on this panel today, everybody isn't dating for marriage. And unfortunately, I mean, that's just the world we live in, especially people in their early, mid to late, in their 20s. Let's just say people in their 20s. And it seems like these folks that were on the original video are in their 20s. And so when you put a lot of pressure on someone who may or may not be looking to date for marriage, that is the outcome you're going to get. You're going to get someone not wanting to pay for your $4 McDonald's, someone who is feeling overwhelmed, someone who does not see what you see. And especially when you're comparing your vagina to a Happy Meal, like that's more 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10. That is the outcome you're going to get. So those are my final thoughts on the original video and everything we talked about today.
Okay. John F. Thomas, your final thought.
My thoughts are don't test a guy in that sense when it has to do with paying for your child. That's your responsibility. Now, if it depends on the intention of this date. Now, if y'all just fooling around just to like, hey, we're gonna mess around later. Hey, okay, he don't mind paying $4 for that WAP. So hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. But if I'm dating you to be like, hey, this is gonna be my girlfriend, and who knows, I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe it should be then don't do that to me, because that's a media turnoff. This shows me that you're not being responsible for your own child. And if something happens, because that can lead, it starts like somebody mentioned earlier in the comments, it starts with $4, and then maybe it could lead to like, oh, now my kid needs some shoes, or can you help out with this, or actually, you know what, yeah, my cell phone bill, it's about all this kind of crazy stuff. So at some point you're asking for a man, so this doesn't seem like a man if he keeps keep giving okay, no, I'm not a man then. So let me be a man and respect that I'm being a man. Respect that. Not, oh, you failed the test. No, that doesn't make any sense. You have all these ridiculous flips, and I'm doing gymnastics just to try to get inside to have this relationship with you, and I'm not doing that. So that's all I'm saying. Respect one another. I'm going to respect you because you have your thing. Now, if I do this out of kindness of my heart, that's out of the kindness of my heart. Otherwise, that has nothing to do with me. That's your child. That's your responsibility. If I like you later on at some point, then yeah, I'll offer up. I'll open up that part of me where I'll start giving to you financially. But don't expect that off top if I'm already driving you and I'm already paying for whatever date we're doing, whether that's food or some event.
Yeah, John's got PTSD when it comes to people asking for money and stuff like that.
You live and you learn, man. You live and you learn.
I already know.
So, Mrs. G, your final thoughts.
I think that it is absolutely correct concerning what you were saying earlier, Dr. Watkins, when it comes to women having to know how to represent themselves in a high quality way. We have a lot of our women who have been watching a lot of media, and they want to present themselves like they have these champagne standards, but they don't have champagne budget. They don't have champagne behavior. They're not polite. They've totally lost the concept of femininity. And what we want to be clear about is when it comes to your ability to match with a quality husband, which really needs to be people's goal, because having a husband and being a man's wife is a woman's secret to real happiness. It's the secret to happiness. That level of safety and love and beauty and productiveness and generational success it really should be everybody's goal. You have no purpose in life if you're just here spending and having fun. Generational success should be everybody's goal. So in order to get to that place, we have to remember that as Black American ladies, and I want to remind everybody, I'm a Black American lady. I was born and raised in America. I did not leave America until I was 39, but I lived partially outside of America every single year since I was 22 also. So I want to say that what we have realized is that when our women come to us, we give them an assessment to determine where they are, and we have a score. You can score up to 1,000 to see your wife ability, your ability to be a great wife and to have lots of choices. But our Black women are scoring a negative 380 on average, and that should say a lot. There's a lot of work to do. People need to learn exactly what those things are, and we really can't discuss it in a small amount of time. So bon voyage.
Wow. Okay. Well, the URL is blackwealthyou.com. So feel free to go to blackwealthyou.com. And also, I hope you'll follow Jeff and John on social media. Their social media tags are right there. And what I'm going to do is I'll give a quick parting thought on this conversation. And this is just Uncle Boyce talking here. First of all, that whole conversation was just stupid. It was a stupid conversation. And but you can learn a lot from stupid conversations. And my goal today was for us to take a stupid conversation and make it intelligent, which I believe that we did that. And I hope you'll thank the panelists for doing that. And the reason I feel like that you can learn a lot from a stupid conversation is how to avoid stupid conversations. I go back to the fact that there were red flags here. The red flag was that you're talking about Happy Meals and everything else and sex, which sex is a very heavy thing. I mean, sex is the key to life. Human beings exist because of sex, and so it's bigger than just an orgasm or a good time. It's literally the creation of human life, and I think that we've forgotten that. I think we've lost the value of that. We've lost the value of the woman and her body. We've lost the value of the man and his seed and what that means and for your legacy and everything else. So sex and Happy Meals don't even belong in the same sentence. But that's the other red flag is that men, let's just be clear. When you want things in a relationship, relationships are inherently transactional to some extent. It comes down to fulfilling needs for the other person. If you're not capable of fulfilling someone's needs, then I don't see why they would have an incentive to fulfill your needs. And so if I'm interested in a woman and she has a child, then I have to decide in advance, do I accept that about her? If the answer is yes, then that means I'm in. And if that means buying the child a Happy Meal, then buy the damn Happy Meal. And because I can tell you what, you'll make women very unhappy if you don't do the little things. I know my fiance will tell me to do stuff and I'll be like, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. But if it's important to her, it has to be important to me. Now, of course, she's my fiance, so that's a different conversation than if it were the first date. But even on the first date, if you're letting a Happy Meal stop you from all these other things that you think are going to happen in this relationship, I don't even get that. Right. So I think, really, when you talk about who you choose smart people, choose good parents. She doesn't come off to me like a good mother. It did sound a little bit sloppy, a little bit crazy, a little bit weird. It makes you wonder, where's the daddy at? You don't have a good daddy of that child, then that means you don't make good choices. Unfortunately, that's a problem. But then also, it speaks to them. It will scare a man off. You're already bringing your baby into the dating situation, and you just met each other. Well, that's going to be a big old mess. Like, a lot of men are going to walk away from that. So I think that people who have it together should look for other people who have it together. Right. If you have it together and you're trying to build legacy, you're trying to build structure, you're trying to build an institution, you're trying to find a quality woman, then just know that there are low quality women out here. You got to avoid them. Pick the high quality women. Same thing is true for the ladies picking the men. And I see too many people picking their sex partners based on who has a big butt and a smile, or picking men based on who they just think is cute, has swag, has a little bit of money in his pocket. And next thing you know, your whole life is a damn mess. So empire builders are always thinking about everything they allow into their space, all the energy they're allowing into their life, who they're allowing around their children, who they're allowing around any asset that's of value to you, whether it's your child or your real estate or your sense of well-being. Even your own sense of well-being has to be protected, because some of these people out here are crazy, pathetic, they're predators, and they will destroy your life. So stay out of the nonsense. Don't get caught up in the stupid stuff. Be smart, be strategic, and you'll win that way. All right. So thank you to the panel once again. I appreciate you all very, very much. And thank you all for checking us out, hanging out. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Share, subscribe, everything else. We'll be back with more panels. We usually do them at 8 p.m., but sometimes we do them in the morning because Mrs. G is across the sea. And I'll do anything to fit into her time zone because I think she's freaking awesome. So same thing to the brothers Jeff and John, who are always on the Black Boss channel every single day. So have a good day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Talk to you later.